Push the blue button. All right.
I've never sat in that chair for it, so I don't know.
Do I have to push those buttons? B and plus. Is that? Okay. Did it take it? No. Set everything.
Oh, Meyer.
No, Mike.
Mike Gable.
Okay. Is that right? Okay. 25 present are Gail, Supervisor Gentz, and Supervisor Michael are excused, and Chairman Molinaro is excused. And we will move on to citizens' comments. Each citizen come to the podium. You have 5 minutes in which to speak.
Thank you and good evening. Ron Frederick, 6038 34th Avenue. And I was hoping to come here tonight to see you finally put the health insurance issue to rest. I understand that it's not on tonight's agenda, and it will be in the near future, hopefully. As I've stated time and time again, the full-time compensation for a half-time job is just inappropriate. And I hope you will do the right thing and eliminate the benefit. An observation came to me on this matter that during all of the deliberation, I don't recall, and I certainly stand to be corrected, but I don't recall anyone saying, I can point to this private firm that provides a full-time health care package to its part-time employees. If any of you know such a creature, I would suggest that you use it in your argument, because that I would think would be rather powerful. If I'm correct that there is no such animal out there, no American corporation that engages in that practice, that I think should encourage you all the more to eliminate the benefit. And I would also like to take this time to compliment my county supervisor and namesake, Ronald J. Frederick, for his perseverance, his tenacity, and his leadership on this issue. When the matter comes before you for a full vote, please vote to eliminate the health insurance benefit for county supervisors. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Good evening, Mark Montague, 7835 36th Avenue. As many times as I've been up here speaking, I really feel like I know a lot of you people, and I do know a lot of you. Getting to know more of you, and appreciate what you guys are trying to do. Right now, the Department of Highway for Kenosha County, Local 70, has been involved in a long, drawn-out contract dispute. And I know I talked to you guys last 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. We had talked about binding arbitration. And that's where we were headed. The things that have gone on now through the governor's office have really backed us up against a wall, along with the time limits that we have to work with now. And what we're looking on doing is hopefully getting full board support is to trying to get an emergency meeting sometime next week. And I'm not really sure of the time, and I don't want to speak out of place. But the conversations I've had with Fred sitting at the chairman spot yesterday, and I really appreciate that time. And I had conversations with a couple other supervisors. I also had a conversation with the county executive, and I had a conversation with the county chairman. And tonight's conversation with Mark was the ability to try to get something done. He would facilitate some things as long as administrative, finance, and the highway department committee chairs were involved. And we're hoping sometime tomorrow, the next day that we can get something done. Our backs are right up to the wall on this deadline through the governor's office. We would really like to get a contract in place, and we would really appreciate everybody's support when the time comes for this, hopefully early next week sometime. And I really appreciate your time, and thanks a lot.
Thank you. Next.
Jack Rose, 4315 68th Street. Thank you again for the opportunity to speak before the county board here, and my purpose is to talk about the impact of the repair bill and the forthcoming governor's budget. As I said last time, we've got nearly 35,000 residents in Kenosha County that receive some type of Medicaid. That's 21% of our population. And so we really need to be aware of that as this moves forward. And the repair bill and the budget will see if it's going to happen. You know all the turmoil that's been involved, and we just need to be aware of how that's going to impact our residents. Also, with the budget proposal, there could be a freeze on family care enrollment as of July 20th. There could also be a 10% cut in unspecified mental health, substance abuse, and public health programs here for Kenosha County. And if we ever need these programs, we're going to need them now and into the future. There's $500 million in unspecified Medicaid cuts and loss of federal match. Badger care benefits or eligibility are possible targets. Persons with mental illness could lose access to health care, and medications would help to keep them out of hospitals and institutes, and also hopefully out of our jails. You may or may not know, but it's the daily rate for somebody with mental illness is much higher when they are incarcerated than if they are being cared for. Right now we have about 1,800 county residents who are affected by serious and persistent mental illness who participate in Badger Care. And Badger Care is not only for psychotropic medications, but it's for general health. And people that are affected with mental illness have a lifespan that's 25 years shorter. So with that, we just need to be aware of this, and we need to do the best that we can. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Donna Dickinson, 7522 12th Avenue, Vice President of Local 990, which represents the jailers, the clerical, and the professional staff. I'm here to thank you for all the support that the County Board Supervisors have shown our local county unions, and we appreciate it. I'm also here to let you know that the jail unit currently has an open contract, and I want to let you know that the jail unit looks forward to sitting down with the negotiating team from the county to look at what concessions that the jail can give the county to help benefit the county. We were hoping to do that the next couple of days, as Mark has indicated, for the highway department, that the jail continues to be willing to give concessions to the county for the financial well-being of the county. In addition, the professional unit will be asking that we look at extending our contract, and with the extension of our contract, looking at offering some concessions as well to assist the financial burden that the county is going to be under in the near future. So thank you for your support, and we look forward to working with you in the next week and getting the jail contract resolved and looking at the extension of the professional contract with concessions. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Is there anyone else? Citizens' comments are closed. Announcements of the chair. Next Tuesday, there will be a meeting of the Legislative and Finance Committee at Kenosha County Center. The issues will be the size of the county board, and we also just became aware of a request by the Menominee to extend the IGA between the Menominee and Kenosha County, and so it is likely that that will be added to the agenda for the 22nd. If that does happen and there's it's referred out of the committee, it is also likely that a special meeting of the county board will be requested for the 29th to deal with that, as it's got to be dealt with before the 31st. Is that not correct? Okay. So that's that. Now, there is also a road show on redistricting in Wisconsin that is being held, and where is it here? Oh, Waukesha, on the 8th of April. If anybody is interested in going to that, you can get a copy of this from the clerk. And let's see, it'll be a morning session from 9 till noon and an afternoon session from 1 till 4. And that should be that should answer any questions anybody might have. I would, ask that the members of the committee try to make it if at all possible, but I would also suggest anybody else that can make it. This is a good way to get your questions answered. So that's it for the chair. Supervisors' reports. Okay. Supervisor Rose.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to bring to the board's attention the special meeting of the Human Services Committee. The agenda is on your desk, and the issue is a report from the Human Services Administration regarding possible cuts in the state budget, their impact on human services, and in particular the department as well as the contracted services. No decisions, of course, are going to be made there at this meeting, but it is informational. These are probably going to be more in the form of estimates or predictions, but I think it is an important meeting that you may want to attend. Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Bruning.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Kenosha Transit Planning Advisory Committee met on March 10th at 1:30 over at Gateway Horizon Center. We went through Chapter 5 of the transit plan that we're working on. This one is the evaluation of the existing transit systems. I'm not going to go through the whole chapter here, but if anyone wants to read it, I do have the preliminary draft of it. Our next steps are to hold public informational meetings to review with the public, to gather their comments and finalize the unmet transit needs that we have currently. We did talk about the current system and the routes that we have, and the elimination of some potential routes that may be coming. If anyone wants to look at that, I do have that information. Also on my desk, I received a copy of the Natural Areas and Critical Species Habitat Protection and Management Plan for the Southeastern Wisconsin region. This came from Sewer Pack from December 2010. If anyone wants to read this, they can certainly look through it. Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Elberman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple of brief items from Highway and Parks and Golf. Our golf people have been aggressively campaigning this winter. Attended for the first time the Chicago Golf Show and the Milwaukee Golf Show. Had some great responses, although, at these shows you have to kind of wait and see. People tend to go around and pick up pamphlets and free outings and things, and so the time will tell, but the response was very good. A lot of new addresses, a lot of new leads, and some inquiries on what we need, which is outings and leagues. So those two went well. On parks, we're developing, as we've reported here, the open space plan, which is needed to be updated for us to be able to apply for certain types of grants. The ongoing Green Ribbon Committee and the work at the KD Park to get those trails and things open in spring is going on a good pace. So that's a quick recap of Highway, Parks, and Golf. Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Clark.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In your packets, there was a general fund forecast for the 2010 closeout. Previously, we were reporting that we were going to come in at about 6.2 million. As they tie the numbers out, it is looking as if we're going to come in with our general fund in the neighborhood of about 7.8 million. Those savings, there's additional surplus in the health insurance fund, as well as there were additional revenues coming in from the jail. Those are the major changes. We have a policy to try to have our reserves be at 17% of our general fund expenditures. That's going to put us at about 12.6%. If we considered the delinquencies and added those back, we would be sitting at about 18%. So we're moving in the right direction with the general fund reserve balance. The other thing that was in your packet, in the Finance Committee, we had discussion about what it meant for Kenosha County. Where did we measure against the AAA counties in terms of our bond rating? It was very informational. It talked about the various different factors that are given. There's a lot of, the heavier weight really has to do with the community, the earning potential of the citizens, the property tax base. When you get to the other factors, our general fund balance is very important. So on that chart that's there, I think it's worthwhile to take a look at it. It has the white area, the pink area, and the blue area. Blue areas being strength, pink being areas we can improve on, and white areas are just neutral. So I would encourage you to look at that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Seeing no other lights, supervisors' reports are closed. Ordinances, old business.
Ordinance 19, second reading to required from Legislative Committee, an ordinance to create Section 2.06 sub 4 of the Municipal Code of Kenosha County regarding consent agenda, submitted by Legislative Committee. Kubicki, yes. Hallman, yes. Boyd Frederick, yes.
Supervisor Kubicki.
I move ordinance number 19.
It's moved by Supervisor Kubicki, seconded by Supervisor Hallman. Supervisor Kubicki.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. With consent agenda, the county board chair or chairman of a committee may designate that certain items on an agenda as consent agenda items, where no debate or discussion is anticipated. An example would be a county board supervisor receiving a reappointment to a board position within county government, which he or she has been serving on. But any supervisor may object to any consent agenda item. I move for your approval of this ordinance this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. On the question, Supervisor Rose.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to speak in opposition to this proposal. This strikes me as a solution without a problem. This is the kind of thing that is going to inhibit or discourage discussion, and I understand that it says there that these are routine, no debate anticipated, and if someone objects, it can be then placed upon the discussion agenda. But be that as it may, these are the kind of things that set the tone in policy and direction. It's not needed. If there is any criticism that one can make sometimes of the county board, is that we ought to be discussing certain things more vigorously and than we are. And I would therefore hate to see us incorporate in the form of an ordinance a so-called no debate anticipated. This strikes me as the kind of thing that often makes one sound much like a rubber stamp. We'll have a whole list of items here that don't require debate, so someone says. I don't know if that be the case or not. If they don't require debate, we're not wasting very much time here in placing it on the regular agenda, because there may be somebody who does have debate or does have something to say about the issue. But if we have a no discussion, no debate provision, they may feel that they don't want to be singling something out or objecting, or perhaps they're a new supervisor and feel that this isn't the time to wave the flag as a newly initiated or newly elected county board supervisor. I think this is a solution without a problem. There's certainly no need. I don't want us to be rubber stamping or have someone in a leadership position saying, in my opinion, no discussion or no debate is anticipated or needed or under consideration. only to find that someone may very well want to do it, but be reluctant because they are viewed as the dissenter or they're viewed as someone new. No need for this. I'm shocked that this sort of thing is even before us. Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Clark.
I have to concur with Supervisor Rose in his comments. I think the county board meetings, if you take a look at the amount of time, have been rather quick meetings. I think we run rather efficient meetings. And one of the problems that I have with this, just with the language, it says that a supervisor may have an objection. Does that mean that they automatically have the right to object and say, and we have to act on it, or does it mean that we need to vote on his objection and it's got to be a majority? Those items are not addressed in this. We have provisions in our current county board rules that if somebody on the board floor wishes to have something acted on immediately, they can move to suspend the rules. If it is something as simple as having a supervisor reappointed, they can make a motion to act on it immediately, get the votes, and then act on it. So I don't believe this ordinance is necessary. Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Holman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If I could, I want to mention a little bit how this got brought about, because I was sort of the one who drafted it and pushed for this. I attended a conference probably a year or two ago, and I spoke with someone who mentioned that they had this. I think they were on a school board in New Jersey or something, or represented a county board down south. And he mentioned that they had this thing called a consent agenda, and I said, okay. And he said, you know, if you put one together, it'll save time and your colleagues will like you. And I said, oh, tell me more. And so I listened, and I wondered if maybe we had some practical applications for which something like this might perhaps be useful. I ran the idea past Chairman Molinaro, and he said, you know, if you'd come to me 5 or 6 years ago, I would have said no. He said, but it would seem now that we do have quite a bit of routine business that we just kind of package together and, in a sense, shuffle through, if you will. So I hear what the arguments are. This isn't something that I necessarily feel strong about. Vote it up, vote it down. It's to your discretion. Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Grady.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I understand what the intent of this is, and I think it's well-purposed, but I think the way we do business here on the county board floor, we already have a mechanism that basically addresses that. You know, we see routinely where appointments may be lumped together. The maker of the motion or ordinance will say, I'd like to continue these items as a continuance, have a separate listing, and then it's read off by the county clerk. So I think we already do have that to a certain extent. But to lump them all together where you actually have to make an exception to break them apart, I think is, I don't know, I understand the methodology, but I think it's counterproductive. So Ordinance 19, although I understand its purpose, I think what we have in place is actually a better alternative. Thank you.
Thank you. And Supervisor Alberman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wasn't going to speak, but in case anyone still has doubts about this, I wanted to speak briefly. This would put a cloud over things that there need not be a cloud over. You know, well written, but for the Boy Scouts, maybe this would work. For county government, where there hasn't been a problem, let's not create one. Let's just vote this down and move on.
Thank you. I see no other Supervisor Clark.
I just want to, although I'm not going to support this ordinance, I do want to commend Supervisor Holman for attempting to address an issue. I know in the village, they read every ordinance and everything, and they have consent agendas, and I can see it working there. I do want to commend him for his effort in trying to address an issue and make the county board better.
Thank you. Supervisor Holman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Whether this passes or not, I would certainly encourage all members of this body to take the things that we do that are practice and make them procedural. so that newcomers to the board, so that once you retire, people understand why certain things are in place and how they operate, as opposed to learning them in fly-by-night operations. Thank you.
Thank you. I see no more lights. Are we ready to vote? Roll call requested. One more. Who's missing? Supervisor Arrington, Supervisor. We need one more. Yours isn't working? Push the P first. There we go. (21-3) with one abstention, the motion fails. Okay, resolutions.
New business, or, resolution, one reading, 112 under old business, from Finance Committee to authorize sale and transfer of county tax deeded property in the village of Paddock Lake. Submitted by the Finance Committee. Clark, yes. O'Day, yes. Jeff Gentz, yes. Singer, yes. Eckerness, yes.
Supervisor Clark.
I move resolution.
Moved by Supervisor Clark, seconded by Supervisor O'Day. Supervisor Clark.
This is a transfer of tax deeded property. This was referred back to the committee to clear up the wording. To be, number one, provide a map to the county board. Number two, to be certain that it is one parcel and have the resolution reflect that. I believe this resolution does that. The information is provided. It was requested by the village of Paddock Lake that this property be turned over to them. It does have flooding issues, and they just wanted to make sure that it remains a green space and nothing happens to that property. There is a deed restriction on the property. They can't sell it. If they do anything with it, it has to come back to the county. I urge your support.
Thank you. Supervisor Bruning.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have reviewed this information now and am satisfied with what has been presented to us at this time, and I will be supporting this. Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Elverman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I also had concerns about this at our last meeting. This is how this needs to be done, and it was done well. With the maps, the supervisor from the district being aware of the situation, and so I thank the staff for having the patience to show us what we needed to see.
Thank you. Seeing no other lights. Yeah, no other lights. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
New
Motion
business.
carried.
Sorry.
Did that require a roll call? No. Okay. No, it did not.
New business ordinance, first reading to required. 20 from Supervisor Rose, repeal a municipal code of Kenosha County, section 301, subsection 1D, regarding elimination of per diem.
I'm referring that to the Administration Committee.
21 from Land Use Committee, regarding Town of Salem sponsor, 9814 Antioch Road sponsor, Wesley and Cheryl Schroeder owner, requesting a rezoning from R4 Urban Single Family Residential District and B2 Community Business District to R4 Urban Single Family Residential District, B2 Community Business District, and C2 Upland Resource Conservancy District in the Town of Salem. Committed by Land Use Committee. Brunig, yes. Esposito, yes. Kohlmeyer, yes. Underhill, excused. Decker, yes.
Supervisor Brunig.
Move ordinance number 22.
Moved by Supervisor Brunig, seconded by Supervisor Esposito. Supervisor Brunig.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is actually ordinance number 21. This property is located on the southwest corner of 113th Street and 306th Court. The rezoning would allow a two-lot combination and brings the lots into compliance with the county's zoning ordinance. The Town of Salem recommended approval of this request.
Okay, I see no lights on the question. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it, so ordered.
Ordinance 22 from the Land Use Committee regarding Equity Trust Company, request of rezoning from B5 Wholesale Trade and Warehouse District, A2 General Agricultural District, and C2 Upland Resource Conservancy District to A1 Agricultural Preservation District, A2 General and Agricultural District, C1 Lowland Resource Conservancy District, and C2 Upland Resource Conservancy District in the town of Salem. Submitted by Land Use Committee. Brunig, yes. Esposito, yes. Komeyer, yes. Underhill, excused. Decker, yes.
Supervisor Brunig. Moved by Supervisor Brunig, seconded by Supervisor Esposito. Supervisor Brunig.
Property into compliance with the county's zoning ordinance. The town of Salem recommended approval of this request.
Okay, I see no other lights on the question. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it, so ordered.
Resolution 122 from Highway and Parks Committee, a resolution to file a petition with the Office of Commissioner of Railroads for the alteration of an at-grade crossing of the Canadian Pacific Railway with County Trunk Highway K in the city of Kenosha and town of Summers. Submitted by Highway and Parks Committee. Alverman, yes. Noble, yes. O'Day, yes. Gale Gens, yes. Underhill, yes.
Supervisor Elverman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd move Resolution 122.
Moved by Supervisor Elverman, seconded by Supervisor Noble. Supervisor Elverman.
Mr. Chairman and board members, we brought one of these before you, I believe, last month. Remember the any work needed at a railroad crossing by the company that owns the railroad needs to be requested through the Office of the Railroad Commissioner. We are planning on working on Highway K in Kenosha and in Summers, widening bike paths, and the crossing there is going to need to be updated. So our first step in doing that is to put a request through to the Railroad Commissioner. He is the one that deems it necessary or not. So I'm asking for your approval so we could submit the application.
Okay. Seeing no lights, all those in favor say aye. Opposed? The ayes have it, so ordered.
Resolution 123 from Highway and Parks and Finance Committees, a resolution to release marsh disposal easement rights associated with 1964 County Trunk Highway H reconstruction project. Highway and Parks, Alverman, yes. Noble, yes. O'Day, yes. Gale Gens, yes. Underhill, yes. Finance, Clark, yes. O'Day, yes. Jeff Gens, yes. Singer, yes. Eckerness, yes.
Supervisor Elverman.
I move Resolution 123.
Moved by Supervisor Elverman, seconded by Supervisor Clark. Supervisor Elverman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. When work was being done on this section of the highway, Highway H in 1964, it's very clear if you read it. There was marsh soils encountered. The easiest thing to do was to have easements on the side of the road and drop those marsh soils. And those easements didn't come into play until recently when the people from West Park want to do some grading for retention ponds, and these easements were found. So there's no value to the county. There's value as far as the retention ponds and the work grading that they need to do. So legally, we just need to drop these easements, and that's what this resolution does.
Okay. Seeing no lights, all those in favor say aye. Opposed? The ayes have it, so ordered.
Resolution 124 from Human Services Committee, a resolution to approve the appointment of Lillian Brown to the Kenosha County Commission on Aging. Submitted by Rose, yes. Jeff Gens, yes. Celebre, yes. Gable, yes. Arrington, yes.
Supervisor Kubicki.
That goes to Supervisor Rose. He's the chair of that now.
Oh, okay. Supervisor Rose.
All right, thank you. I would move the resolution.
All right, moved by Supervisor Rose, seconded by Supervisor Gantz. Supervisor Rose.
All right, thank you. Lillian Brown was interviewed by the committee. She fills a vacant position. The committee felt that she was well qualified. She served under a number of, served in the community on a number of boards and organizations. We would urge your support this evening.
Okay. Seeing no lights, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, so ordered.
Resolution 125 from Human Service Committee, a resolution to approve the reappointment of Timothy Tompkins to the Kenosha County Aging and Disability Resource Center Board. Rose, yes. Jeff Gens, yes. Celebrity, yes. Arrington, yes. Gable, yes.
Supervisor Rose.
I would move the appointment of Mr. Tompkins.
Moved by Supervisor Rose, seconded by Supervisor Gantz. Oh, no, wait a minute. She's not here. Who else is?
Oh, I think it was Jeff.
Oh, is it Jeff Gantz?
Yeah.
Yeah, Supervisor Gantz. Supervisor Rose.
All right, thank you. Mr. Tompkins is a reappointment to the board, and he is currently employed with the City of Kenosha as an Equal Employment Opportunity Coordinator. He has been in attendance at most of the board meetings. He is also active with a number of organizations in the community, as indicated by the biographical sketch attached to the appointment. The committee unanimously endorsed him, and we ask your endorsement this evening.
Okay, seeing no lights, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, so ordered.
Resolution 126 from Human Services and Finance Committees, a resolution to modify Division of Aging and Disability Services 2010 budget to add ARRA Living with Chronic Conditions funding. Human Services, Rose, yes. Jeff Gens, yes. Gable, yes. Arrington, yes. Finance, Clark, yes. O'Day, yes. Singer, yes. Jeff Gens, yes. Eckerness, yes.
Okay, Supervisor Rose.
I would move the resolution.
Moved by Supervisor Rose, seconded by Supervisor Clark. Supervisor Rose.
All right, thank you. The resolution provides for a $2,500 expenditure based upon a grant for the purposes set forth in the resolution, namely for the Living Well volunteer training and marketing expense. We would ask for your endorsement this evening.
Okay, seeing no lights, are we ready to vote? This takes a 2/3 vote. Oops. Did Supervisor Johnson, did you want to? Okay. 25 to nothing, motion's carried.
Resolution 127 from Judiciary and Law Committee, a resolution to approve the appointment of Cynthia Johnson to serve as a member of the Local Emergency Planning Committee. Judiciary and Law, Michael, yes. Haas excused. Ron Johnson, yes. Singer, yes. Ron Frederick, yes.
Supervisor Singer.
I move resolution number 127, Chairman.
Moved by Supervisor Singer, seconded by Supervisor Ron Frederick. Supervisor Singer.
Chairman, this is a reappointment, or this is an appointment of the county exec for the county local emergency planning committee of Cynthia Johnson. Cynthia Johnson is the director of the health department. Her resume is attached if you have any questions.
Okay. Seeing no lights, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, so ordered.
Resolution 128 from Judiciary and Law Enforcement Committee regarding probationary cabaret license for Lumpy's Sports Bar and Grill. Michael, yes. Johnson, yes. Singer, yes. Ron Frederick, yes.
Supervisor Singer.
Thank you, Chairman. I move resolution 128.
It's moved by Supervisor Singer, seconded by Supervisor Ron Frederick. Supervisor Singer.
This is a resolution for the probationary cabaret license for Lumpy's Sports Bar and Grill at 9251 Antioch Road in Salem, Wisconsin, in the town of Salem. It's for the month of January. It was turned over to the office on January 7th.
Okay. Seeing no lights, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, so ordered.
Resolution 129 from Judiciary and Law and Finance Committees regarding Kenosha County Detention's facility improvements. From Michael, yes. Haas excused. Johnson, yes. Singer, yes. Ron Frederick, yes.
Supervisor Singer.
Thank you, Chairman. I move resolution number 129.
Moved by Supervisor Singer, seconded by Supervisor Clark. Supervisor Singer.
Chairman, this is a budget resolution that calls for a change in the budget, taking $24,780 for furniture, fixtures, and upgrades, infrastructure upgrades, and it would be at the detention facility. If you want some more in-depth information, we do have Captain Paul Faldudo here to answer any questions.
Okay, Supervisor Grady.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through the chair to Captain Faldudo, just a question about the 24 bunks. Is this replacing existing, or is this a new area that's being developed?
We have, currently we have 8 of these same type of bunks. We're going to take the 24, double bunk them and make 16 stacks, adding 32 bunks to an existing dorm, F dorm. This will allow us to increase capacity at KCDC by 32 beds for minimal amount of money, which will assist us when the detainee population gets a little higher than it's been recently.
Okay. That answers my question. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no other lights, are we ready to vote? This takes a 2/3 vote also. Okay. 25-0, motion carries.
Resolution 130 from Judiciary and Law Enforcement and Finance Committee's request for waiver of competitive bid process for tactical team ballistic vest. From Michael, yes. Haas excused. Johnson, yes. Singer, yes. Ron Frederick, yes.
Supervisor Singer.
Chairman, I move resolution 130.
It's moved by Supervisor Singer, seconded by Supervisor Clark. Supervisor Singer.
Chairman, resolution 130 is a authorization to waive the competitive bidding process for the tactical team ballistic vests in the amount of $40,000. It's the vest manufacturer is Mine Safety Appliances Company. It is the manufacturer for the Parklete MSA vest style, and the vendor is 5 Alarm Law Enforcement Equipment. It's the only authorized distributor of the MSA law enforcement products in the state of Wisconsin. That's why we're asking for the sole source, non-competitive bid.
Okay. Supervisor Zerban.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. I see we're bonding for this. Is this? I'm just a little curious as to. I'm not sure. My question is.
No, I believe this is out of the existing budget. I don't think.
I'm looking at page CIP 98, and it says it's under
Is it
revenue
bonded?
levy bonding of $40,000.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
And do we know what the life of these are? I mean, I know it's necessary equipment. We have to have this.
Would you like Captain Faldudo to?
Please.
Could you do that? Captain Faldudo.
The expected life expectancy of a ballistic vest is approximately 10 years.
10 years.
So.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Seeing no other lights, that's a roll call, right? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, so ordered.
Resolution 131 from Land Use Committee, request for an amendment to the final plat of Parkside Springs subdivision regarding the reduction of the street yard setback to 30 feet from 40 feet on lots 1 through 6 in the town of Summers, submitted by Land Use Committee. Brunig, yes. Esposito, yes. Colmeyer, yes. Underhill excused. Decker, yes.
Supervisor Brunig.
Resolution 131.
Moved by Supervisor Brunig, seconded by Supervisor Esposito. Supervisor Brunig.
Mr. Chairman, these properties are located on the southwest corner of 12th Street and 53rd Avenue. The request is to reduce the street yard setback from 40 feet to 30 feet on lots 1 through 6. This will allow the developer to increase the rear yards on these lots. Minimum code is 30 feet. The developer presented the original plant proposing the 40-foot setbacks and since discovered they could offer a better layout by reducing the setback to the minimum 30 feet on the 6 lots. The Town of Summers recommended approval of this request.
Okay. Seeing no lights, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, so ordered.
Resolution 132 from Supervisor Rose regarding health insurance contribution by elected officials.
I'll refer that to the Administration Committee.
Resolution 133 from Supervisor Rose regarding supervisor compensation.
I'll refer that to the Administration Committee.
Communications 15 from George E. Melcher, Director Planning Development regarding future rezonings.
Refer that to the Land Use Committee.
Claims 32 Frontier Facilities damaged cable.
Refer that to the Corporation Council.
33 Allen Funk mailbox damage.
Refer to the Corporation Council.
34 Kimberly M. Farr tire damaged by pothole.
Refer that to the Corporation Council.
Approval of the March 1st, 2011 minutes by Supervisor Esposito.
Supervisor Esposito.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to approve the minutes of March 11, 2011.
Supervisor Esposito, seconded by Supervisor Grulich. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion to adjourn by Supervisor Brunig, seconded by Supervisor Grulich. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? We are adjourned. What? They use